Hello everyone, and welcome to this brand new series called Lore Bytes, where I shine a spotlight on the many lesser known creatures of Tyria. For this episode, I'll be focusing on the Ogres, which reside in the Crystal Desert. We'll be going over where you can find them, what they have to say about their origin, and what they look like. Let's get started. First up, I'll be taking a look at the Ogres of Squaros Kraal, which is within Destiny's Ascent, which is a smaller region of the Grand Crystal Oasis. These ogres originally resided in the Blaze Ridge Mountains until the crystal dragon, Kralkatorrik, stirred from his slumber and forced them due south, where they had to re-establish safer settlements. The different ogres which you can find in this settlement include Darum, Gartak, Makara, Margora, the tried and true ogre hunters, and veteran chieftain Vriga. Veteran chieftain Vriga expands upon the origin story of these ogres, and additionally remarks on the current state of the brand. I would like to just briefly comment on one ogre's model, Makara. Makara appears to be a Central Tyrian ogre. Now, I'm not sure if this is an intentional change or addition, or rather a misstep of developers. It is slightly confusing and or noticeable when all the other models are completely different than Makara, but it's something I took note of. I'm not completely sure if Makara is supposed to have the Crystal Desert ogre model or not, but that's just something I would like to mention. Another ogre of mention would be Margora. When talking to Margora, they state, "Watch yourself. All the branded around here have our pets acting up." Which the commander remarks with, "Amazing you managed to tame anything out in this desert." And Margora responds with, "It's true. These beasts were tough to break. Have to be mean to survive out here." I just thought this was more interesting, diving a bit deeper into the pet taming process of the Crystal Desert ogres, and they seem to be very well versed in the art of taming. And when we move over to the next kraal, this even gets expanded upon. My final notes about the Squaros Kraal ogres is that this area is quite cozy. It's a little nook in the entirety of the map, and adds a bit of flair to the overall story and or aesthetic to the Crystal Desert. It's somewhat sad seeing that this place isn't used more, and it would be kind of a nice direction change if they ever decided to add on to these areas and or give it more story or dynamic events. Moving on to the next kraal. Lomold Kraal is the next settlement I will be looking at, which is within Auburn Hills, which is a part of the Desert Highlands, the home of the wonderful and adorable Springers. I'll mostly be covering the distinguishing factors of Lomold Kraal, which consist of a heart vendor, an ogre by the name of Grafmak. Mostly this kraal is just larger, with additional ogres dealing with their own independent and community struggles, some dealing with the loss of family members, while others are more focused on refortifying their defenses, taming pets, and fighting off the branded. Additionally, I'd like to mention that this settlement is where we see the ogres' practices in taming pets, and I gotta say, it is quite brutal. They really put their fists to work. They really have to beat them into submission, but considering the brutal creatures of the desert, I would expect no less, and I think that they are justified in their actions. Overall, this place is, as I said, much larger, and you can find a few more ambient dialogues playing in the background if you spend time in this area and explore the outskirts of this region. Finally, I'd like to mention the last kraal. Sadly, this one is no longer inhabited by quote-unquote living, friendly ogres. Crag Crawl, located a bit more south of Lomold Crawl, was branded. Kragatork flew over, and the rest was history. You can still visit this area, there is a port of interest, but you might have to avoid some noxious plants and or deadly branded. I think this will conclude my little lore bite on the Ogres of the Crystal Desert. I'll now play a little collection of ambient dialogues that I have captured. Once again, thank you everyone for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Comment down below on your thoughts on the Crystal Desert Ogres, their models, how you feel about them, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Good night, everyone. Mwah.
We must talk to the chief about the barricades.
Why? What's wrong with them?
They're made of wood. Strong, but not strong enough. The branded destroy the barricades faster than trees grow. Supply is short.
Maybe we can trade with the Southerners.
They live in the desert. Where would they get trees?
Maybe we should use rocks. We have lots of rocks.
I needed a pet. Something powerful. You should trade one of those strange mountain creatures. The ones that hop? They aren't hunters. Legs jump forward also. You trade one, then I'll find something better. Perhaps I'll train one and name it I Told You So. Well, I will train a sand shark and I will name it Your Hopper is Food.